What if you could quiet that constant ringing in your ears with something as simple as light? That's the promise of red light therapy, which some are calling a game changer for tinnitus. But is it a real scientific breakthrough or just another dead end? Today, we're cutting through the marketing to find out what the science actually says. For the millions of us living with tinnitus, that relentless buzzing, ringing, or hissing sound is so much more than just a minor annoyance. It can ruin your sleep, destroy your focus, and crank up your stress and anxiety. If you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've probably spent countless late nights scrolling through forums, desperate for anything that might offer even a little bit of peace. And in that search, you get buried under an avalanche of miracle cures, special diets, expensive supplements, weird gadgets, and sound therapies. The internet is a mess of conflicting information. It's exhausting, and it makes it almost impossible to tell what's real and what's just a company trying to cash in on your hope. That's why today we're zeroing in on one of the most talked about treatments out there, red light therapy. You've seen the ads and heard the testimonials, but we're going to push all that aside and look directly at the scientific evidence. We'll unpack the studies and hear from the experts so that by the end of this, you'll have a clear and honest answer about whether red light therapy is a real option for tinnitus. Hi, I'm Dr. Garrett, founder of Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus. We've specialized in tinnitus care for over 20 years and recently became one of the first modern tinnitus specialty centers. I'm proud that we've helped thousands of people like you find real, lasting relief from their tinnitus and hearing loss. Before we talk about if it works, let's quickly cover what red light therapy is. Red light therapy, sometimes called low-level laser therapy, is a treatment that uses very specific wavelengths of red and near-infrared light. The idea is that this light can pass through the skin and give your body's cells a little boost. You can think of it like photosynthesis for your body. Plants use sunlight for energy, and the theory here is that red light can give a direct energy boost to our cells, specifically to the tiny power plants inside them, the mitochondria. More cellular energy can lead to less inflammation, better blood flow, and faster tissue healing. It's a technology that's been seriously studied for everything from skin rejuvenation to joint pain. So how could this possibly help something like tinnitus? The main approach involves shining a light directly into the ear canal. The hope is that the light energy passes through the eardrum to reach the delicate parts of your inner ear, like the cochlea. Once it gets there, the theory is that it works in three ways. First, it could calm down the inflammation of the inner ear, which can be a trigger for tinnitus. Second, it might boost blood flow and oxygen to the tiny hair cells that are essential for hearing. And third, it could kickstart cellular repair, potentially helping to restore function to those tiny damaged cells. Essentially, the goal is to use light to try and heal the very parts of the ear that might be causing these phantom sounds. Now, before I go on, I have a real quick favor to ask. If you're finding this video helpful so far, please give it a like. This really helps others find our videos and cut through all the hype and half-truths out there regarding tinnitus. Also, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you will never miss out on any of these videos that we are putting out weekly. All right, so is there any actual evidence that this works? When you dig into the research, you do find a few studies that show positive results. Several clinical trials have reported that patients who got low-level therapy felt a reduction in their tinnitus. In one study, a little over half patients, about 57%, reported some improvement. Another trial using a slightly different laser found that 43% of their patients felt that tinnitus was about 50% better. And it's not just about the ear. Some of the most interesting new research is looking at the brain. A 2024 study on animals used mid-infrared light to target the auditory cortex, the hearing center of the brain. They found that the light could calm down the hyperactive brain cells that are now thought to be a root cause of tinnitus. This is a huge deal because it suggests light could one day be used to retune the parts of the brain that are actually generating the tinnitus noise. So when you see these promising claims online, they aren't totally made up. There is a body of research that suggests for some people, red light therapy might offer some relief. But, and this is a really big but, the story gets a little more complicated. For every positive study you can find many others out there that say it just doesn't work at all. Many well-designed studies, including major reviews that combine the results of many clinical trials, have found no real difference between red light therapy and a placebo. In these experiments, one group gets a sham laser. It looks and feels the same, but it doesn't actually emit any light. The result? The people in the placebo group reported just as much improvement as the people getting the real laser. This highlights one of the biggest challenges in tinnitus research. The placebo effect is incredibly powerful. Because tinnitus is so tied to your mental state, simply believing a treatment will work can make you feel better. Your brain can actually perceive the ringing as less annoying or less loud, even if nothing physical has changed in your ear. It's a real effect, but it's not from the laser. On top of that, the existing research in red laser therapy has some serious weak spots. Many studies use only a handful of people, which makes it hard to trust the conclusions. The methods are also all over the place. Different studies are using different wavelengths of light, different power levels, and different treatment times, making it impossible to compare their results. One study might use a 5-minute treatment, and another a 20-minute treatment, and they end up with totally different findings. Finally, we have almost no idea if the benefits last. Even in the studies that found improvement, the data is almost always short-term. One trial pointed out that while low-level laser therapy seemed to work right after treatment, the positive effects were gone 3 months later. This mess of conflicting evidence and flawed studies is why major health organizations like Tinnitus UK and the American Academy of Otolaryngology have concluded that low-level light therapy is no better than a placebo and don't recommend its use for tinnitus patients. So we have a handful of promising studies out there and a pile of others that say it's all in your head. Where does that leave us? Right now, the scientific consensus is that red light therapy for tinnitus is experimental at best. The evidence just isn't strong or consistent enough for it to be recommended as a go-to treatment. We can't ignore the people who say it helped them, but it's impossible to know if that was the laser or just the placebo effect without the bigger, better, and longer-term human studies. The one piece of good news, though, that is pretty consistent is safety. When it's done correctly, low-level laser therapy seems to be very safe. Clinical trials report few, if any, side effects. So while it might not help your tinnitus, the risk of actually hurting you is very low. This puts us in a familiar spot with tinnitus treatment. The science is still playing catch-up. The therapy might offer a small benefit for a small group of people, maybe those with a very specific type of tinnitus, but we don't know who those people are or why it would work for them and not for others. The research simply isn't there yet. Knowing this, what's the practical takeaway? If you're considering red light therapy, here's my advice. First, and this is the most important thing, talk to an audiologist that specializes in treating tinnitus and has a documented history of helping patients with their tinnitus. They can properly diagnose your tinnitus and point you towards scientifically proven strategies like sound therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and linear, which is the only FDA-approved treatment for tinnitus right now. Second, keep your expectations in check. If you decide to give it a shot, go in with your eyes wide open. Know that it's not a guaranteed cure, and there's a very real chance you won't notice any difference. Be skeptical of any clinic or company that promises you results. That's a huge red flag. Finally, keep an eye on the future. The research isn't done yet. Scientists are still trying to figure out if there's a right way to do red light therapy, and bigger studies are on the way. The research on targeting the brain directly is especially exciting, but it's still many years away from being a real option for tinnitus patients. So what's the truth about red light therapy for tinnitus? The truth is, it's complicated. There's a theory of why it could work, and some early studies did show some benefits, but the overall evidence is pretty weak, conflicting, and just not convincing. For now, it's an interesting idea that just hasn't been proven. The reality with tinnitus is that there's no magic bullets. Finding relief usually means working with a specialist to build a complete management plan. The search for a cure continues, and ideas like red light therapy are part of that search, but we're just not there yet. Now, I really would like to hear from you. If you've tried red light therapy for your tinnitus, whether it worked or didn't, or was somewhere in between, please share your experience in the comments below. Your story could be incredibly helpful for someone else who's going through the same thing. Thanks for watching.